Oh, cool. Right. So I think a lot of people here are further along than I am in AI engineering. So I came to my first AIMUG meeting 2 months ago, and I decided to just jump right in. So I have a history in data science and MLOps and doing developer advocate work. So I thought like the easiest thing to do would be to solve one of my own pain points. And I decided, well, I have a terribly messy desktop, and that's my idea for Rosie the Robot. And you can follow me on X. That's the last of any marketing I want to do. So right now, my desktop has probably 2-3 years worth of just junk on it. The same is for all my directories. And I have like vague names, duplicates, random downloads, and oftentimes I have to actually click in order to find out what it is that I saved. So I can use like a deterministic method. I can use like clustering, sort of like k-means, things like that. But the problem is that they don't really pick a very intuitive naming scheme, and they don't structure it to how I would like it. So this is a bit different from like a specific like LangGraph technique talk. I did promise Collier that I would inject it. Sorry, Colin, I would inject it. So I'm just going to go through my sort of idea here, and I hope that by like next meeting it's going to be further along, and we can kind of grow together and see it at the very beginning and how it gets more sophisticated going on. So the solution I'm aiming for is that I have a maid. It asks a few questions. I give it a few answers. It proposes changes. I give it approval. And then it safely organizes my computer, tells me what it did, and then hopefully I don't have to rerun it again. So the current state is that it's right now just CLI. I have a SQLite event store, and it's LangGraph ready. I already have wired a few agents, or like put the precursor in there. The idea is that I'll have human in the loop. So there's going to be, so there's a planner, it scans everything, and then there is a reviewer that then comes and asks me or the user what it is that we want to keep, what do we want to name, sort a few things, and then lastly there's an executor that goes on and takes in both the algorithmic clustering information and also my own preferences, and we get the final result. So like I said before, most of you guys are a lot further along in the LangChain development than I am. So I'm going to be talking to anyone who's just starting out, and right now I'm doing sort of a live production. So instead of overbuilding before I get feedback, this is feedback. So there we go. So and also have a definition of done. So I've said I want a clean desktop. That's my definition of done. So what I'm doing is I have one painful use case. It's messy. A first win, which is I'm going to have a CLI that's deterministic. So then we have clear definition of our problem. And we've already gotten started. I have a deterministic core. I'll be doing human in the loop gates on risky steps. And I will be demoing, well, it's probably not going to be 60 seconds, but I have a demo and it's short. And like I promised, so we're going to have LangGraph control flow for bounded loops, LangChain tools, and also these we're going to have traces and fixtures. So this is the checklist. I already said pain point. The metaphor is it's a robot. It's made for your computer. That's going to inform the UX and the prompts. The architecture is right now good for like an initial demo, and I'll build on it. I'll show you a roadmap of what I'm going to do later on. Eventually, I want it to be an EXE that people download and someone who is not a developer can easily benefit from it. And then lastly, the demo. So the outcome, having a reviewable plan that groups related files and proposes a safe move with an undo, that's kind of informed the tools that I've made. So we have a file scan tool that walks through the directories, scans the whole directory for the files. We have an embeddings tool that has also fallbacks, so it's really HDBSCAN is the first one, and then I believe it goes to a different agglomerative clustering algorithm, and then later on we go to a simple cosine similarity, and the names for each cluster are TF-IDF. So then we have a tree shaper so that it keeps it sort of flat and doesn't go too deep. And I have some tools for checkpointing and file ops. So this is just quickly how the metaphor informs the prompts, so or the UX. So it doesn't immediately mutate. It has human in the loop. And this is sort of like over my head at this point. I haven't used Pydantic, so I'm kind of like, at this point, over my skis. So in the end, I'm really hoping that I'll get a lot of feedback here. And then this is an example of the plan view. And then finally, the architecture. I have an event store, and then use projections. Keep all of my agents in the agents directory. And then I have a core graph that's just a skeleton. It hasn't actually been fleshed out. And so first, it's just a dry run scan. This is going to be of my downloads folder, and it takes less than a minute, and it should come up with a list of clusters and a list of directories that it wishes to create, along with move plans for which files to move into those directories.
While it's running,
Mm-hmm.
what do you do clustering based on? Is it the titles or the contents? Or?
Yes, so I haven't tested out fully the clustering algorithm. I have been, I went from having, it's kind of loud. I've been going from using OpenAI just to check my functions and document things to using Codex. So I really just trusted it on the algorithms part as far as clustering is concerned. But it assures me that, number one, it's using HDBSCAN, and then it's going to an agglomerative clustering, and then later a cosine similarity. So that's something I have to really go in, check manually, verify that it didn't BS me, and write some more documentation on that. But here it goes through, we get two tables. It has make directory, so create directory and move. And we have confidence levels, confidence levels. Some of these are actually hard-coded. So I think 0.6 is hard-coded in there. The confidence is also something that I haven't actually been able to get a straight answer on for the definition of how it's being calculated. So this will be used later on for the agents to determine whether or not they should actually go through with that or not. And then here's a list of the largest folders. this is just to show that it will not implement without a yes.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Did you say that 0.6 was hard-coded?
It is.
What do you mean by that?
Well, some steps and some, like, it also said when I asked specifically about this. So I was querying, like, okay, here, what did you implement? Okay, what is confidence? Okay, I got like, well, planning to use that later on for the agents to determine whether or not to go forward and implement that step. I asked, okay, well, how do you calculate it? It says, well, right now I just said, well, when we do this particular scan, we're just going to hard code and say that we have a confidence of 0.6. So that's all it is. It's just a magic value at this point. And then this one, we have, so it just creates a directory and then it undoes it. And the point here is that I'm using Windows operations to then go into, when it deletes anything, it goes into the recycle bin. And the last one is sort of a dev cleanup. So this one searches for just any sort of common caches that we might have. This is the virtual environment. And you can delete that too if you wanted. And it would end up in your recycle bin. So this is very early on. And this is sort of my promise to include LangChain, LangGraph. I haven't looked into this, so I'm going to get a lot of feedback. I've seen some people scrunch up their eyebrows, and so I think that they have some things to, suggest, some advice to give on my approach. So I'm just going to show the roadmap for this project, and would take any sort of suggestions, questions at this point, and we can go from there. We've got 3 minutes, so 3 minutes of questions or comments or so. And here's a question. So is anyone building anything end to end, or are we as far as like a complete application to hand off to someone else? Are we focusing more on internal dev tooling? Yeah.
So when you were talking about it, when you're asking it how it's calculating, you did that a couple times. Do you do that in a prompt too? Or how
Oh, so yes. So let me grab that. I actually have an answer for you there. So, like I said, this is my first time using Codex, and like you said yesterday on the call, with AI things have gotten pretty fast, and so you end up going faster than you would like. So I would like to answer your question regarding confidence. And so right now I'm not sure. Right now, so confidence is how sure the algorithm is about the proposed action's correctness. So a classification, an assignment confidence. And so the calculation today, so for the rules-based classification, it's defaulting to 0.75. So that's not what we're doing.
I'm more interested in how are you getting this output, right? How are you interacting to say, right? Because you're saying it has an explanation for it, but it's not very deterministic or whatever. So how are you interacting with it and getting knowing? How do you even know what it's doing to begin with?
Oh,
The whole system. Where are your prompts? Where did you show that?
So it's not prompting. It's all deterministic. There's really no LLM in here at all.
Okay.
The only LLM involved is in the writing of the code. So yes. So right now, all the functions are deterministic.
Ah, okay, cool.
So the idea here is to give a deterministic core architecture and then add LLM into it, and then give it the controls to then make decisions later on.
Gotcha, okay, cool. So you got the structure in place.
Yes, so I'm hoping that this will be a lot more relevant to the LLM LangChain, LangGraph group once I actually put LangGraph, and LangChain in it. So.
Yeah, maybe people can help.
Yeah, just one quick comment that I think is really cool about this is that like we're all coming from this place of, not all of us, but I know I am coming from a place of just using LLMs for everything, and you're using the tooling around the LLMs, but you're plugging in the traditional data science algorithm, like your clustering algorithm.
Yeah.
You're plugging. So I don't know. I think it's just really interesting bringing the two together.
Yes. So like I was talking earlier on that when I was in data science, I kind of figured I would go back and just do a lot of that, and then found out that a lot of the sort of like classification of text, like semantic analysis and all of that, kind of gotten taken over by LLMs. And I was like, oh. So I was trying to like re-implement things that have been superseded. And so this is really, me diving in, feet first or head first into AI engineering.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, James, for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
Really appreciate the different perspectives from the data science.